Good morning from along the trail. Um, I'm at kind of like a nice high point above this lake. I discovered I was camping right down by the shore. It was kind of interesting. It was the first time somebody um, had called out to me and wanted to talk to me while I was just in the process of setting up my tent last evening. And one thing not everyone may know is that in Sweden, there's a law, you can look it up and get the correct pronunciation, but essentially, the natural world, the forests and everything is open for everyone to enjoy. There's not the same sense of private property as there are in many other Western countries. And so you can go camping, you legally can go camping pretty much anywhere that you find a good spot where you aren't disturbing somebody. And you don't have to ask, unless you're like really close to where, other people are. But if you're in a large forest, doesn't matter who it's owned by. If you find a good camping spot, you're not disturbing anyone, go for it. Like, don't think about it. It's a nice law. More countries should have that. But anyway, these two women, this couple, they're probably I don't know, a little bit older than me, and they call out to me in Swedish, of course. And then I slowly walk towards them. I literally just set up my tent in this lovely spot. And they have this huge camera with big, do they still call it telephoto lens? But it's like an old school large camera. And we start talking, and they ask me if I set up down there to photograph. And I was like, I have no idea what they're talking about. No, I mean, it's like, well, I do take pictures if I see something interesting, or, landscape, cloud patterns, light, animals, whatever. Sure, yeah. But it was like, I think they thought that I was like setting up for some event that was coming. And I was like, I have no idea what they're talking about. But it was funny when she was saying that. I remember that last evening, 30 kilometers up the way, when I was walking around finding somewhere to set up for the night, there was this gigantic moon. And I don't follow, some of you know my views on what kind of realm we're in and what the lights in the sky are, but we don't need to get into that. But there was this gigantic moon, and I know that, occasionally in other places I've lived or people I've been around, they follow these things, they know these things, they're in the news or whatever, and there's different names for these. When the moon is big, harvest moon, I think blue moon, I don't know. I again, it's not something that I've ever taken note of unless somebody else tells me, or I happen to see something in the news, which you used to back in the day when there were fewer options for news. But anyway, so she pulls out her phone and she shows me this. And there's a picture of the moon as it was last night, kind of. And I did take a picture of it, but I wasn't satisfied with it. I didn't have the right camera, just my phone. And so it wasn't that interesting, but there was a nice cloud pattern around it, and it was gigantic. And so apparently it was the blood moon, which I had heard of before many years ago, some other place. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, that was interesting. It was like, but they, and I couldn't read the article she was showing me in Swedish, but they thought it was last night, not the night before. And so I was in one of those situations. I was like, well, I'm pretty sure what I witnessed the night before is what they're somewhat anxious, like they really wanted to photograph this amazing blood moon. And I'm just like, I think that's what I saw last night. Like, I don't think it lasts 2 nights, but I don't know. Like, I don't follow these things. I didn't know about it. And so their English was a little bit limited. And so I was just like, I just kind of steered the conversation out. So I was like, I said, I don't know, I would photograph that myself if I saw it. But they were, whatever information they had, it was supposed to be last night, even though it was, from what I know, clearly the night before. And so they were walking around with this huge camera, waiting for something that was never going to happen. And anyway, but yeah, so then I just started to explain to them why I was set up there. I wasn't set up there to photograph the moon. I was there, of course, to rest for the night on my long trek. And I told them a little bit about that, and they seemed very interested. They were a bit astonished that when I said I was walking to Italy, and they were not familiar with the E1 trail. They weren't hikers. I mean, or not on my scale. But anyway, we had a pleasant conversation. The one woman had purple hair, which I haven't seen in a while. And they're very, very pleasant. They wished me well, and I wished them well. It's like I didn't know what to say really about this blood moon that had occurred the previous night. But it got me thinking also about one thing that I love is when somebody explains something in a new way, in a fresh way, reshuffles the words or uses different words to describe a phenomenon that you know, or that you've experienced, or that you've pondered a little bit. But it's the magic of the word. It's the seal of the word. It's the spell of the word in combination that makes you think of something in a different way. And I mentioned this before. I think I mentioned this in a podcast interview. Yeah, I think that's where it was. It was someone I love listening to. That's the problem with this contemporary world is there's so many people I love listening to, podcasts, lectures, books they write, monologues they deliver, whatever. And there's just, I mean, it's not anything that millions or billions of other people haven't commented on, but you don't have time for hardly anything anymore, and so it's like at least I end up picking like a few people that I really deeply follow, and then a bunch of other people that you kind of follow. But I work writing, editing, speaking several hours a day, and then I do other projects. It's like we all have such limited time to consume media, and there are just an incredible array of interesting things that you could learn, and people you could listen to, and interviews you could listen to, but you just don't have time anymore. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, apparently. And so, but what he said in one interview, and I've been listening to him for years, he writes fascinating books about contemporary society, some arts and culture, magic, nature of reality, synchromysticism, those types of things, like really interesting topics. And I listen to him consistently because he's always saying things in such a fresh way. He has a fantastic sense of humor, and he's able to pull threads from different worlds so well, and put them in a form where you don't think it. But he said that the actual definition of suffering is that it's a violation of your intuition. And intuition is something that's very important to me. I've written a couple pieces about it. I'm going to write more about it. It's what's got me through to my 5th decade in so many ways. But he has this idea. He said, I fucking knew it and I didn't do it. Is that suffering is this violation of intuition. And then it's gone, and you don't have that opportunity again. It presented itself, You knew you should have done it, but it passed. Anyway, it's a beautiful thought with a lot of energy to help guide your life. And I wish you all the best today, and we will talk again soon. Thank you so much. Bye.